You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back with a special edition episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Listen, as you all can imagine, it is super late as I record this podcast. I just got back from the Pennsylvania Convention Center, following what was a historic debate. And of course, I was a part of history. For the first time ever, Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, and Vice President Kamala Harris had a debate. And I was fortunate enough to be able to be a part of the media circus surrounding it. I was very quiet, and I want to thank you all because I have so much I want to say about this experience, and of course the debate itself. Because if I would have kept my thoughts to myself, and waited until the next episode of Ernestly Speaking, which will of course drop this upcoming Monday, it would have been a 5-hour episode. And quite frankly, no, I realize that you all want this, and I have some time. And, even though I got to teach and everything else I got to do, by the time you all up in the morning listening and whatnot for the day, you would know my thoughts, because it has been a very wild night. So first, I want to start by just talking about my credential situation, everything like that. You all knew, you loyal listeners that listened to my episode on Monday morning, that I was already cleared and, hot to go with this upcoming situation. But I did not publicize it until 6 p.m. on the dot, when credentials were, the deadline was cutting everything. Because the reason why I did that, it was not because, whatever. It was because of the fact that I wanted to see, I got in through the connections I had. I applied the places that I was at. If I would have shared that I had a credential prior, what would have happened was that media outlets, some of which that I'm affiliated with, who did not get me a credential, mind you, and whatnot, would have probably thought that I was going to have to do assignments and things for them, even though the people who got me my credentials, that's who I do the work for. And so a lot of times when people find out that you got a credential or something, they'll try to assign you things or ask of you and things, or when they already have a team or staff. Other outlets, other places do that. And it's very competitive to get these credentials because not everyone gets one. Okay. So when I was in those rooms, it was people in there that was not there. I saw certain media outlets, journalists that I typically know cover politics. A lot of people that you would think would be there was not in the room. Okay. It was very tight. That list was very tight. And so I was very mindful of that coming in. And so at 6 o'clock on the dot, because I had my post scheduled. You can schedule your post on Instagram. I said, let it be known then. At that point, nobody can message me and say, "Oh, you Ernest, I see you there. Can you do?" No. Commissions, contracts, assignments. You'll see articles and things written by me about the debate from certain outlets. Just know those were the people that vouched and made sure I was good. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. But people will try to do that. So that's why I didn't announce early, because I would have put it out earlier, outside of my, my followers and you all. It would have just been too much like stuff. I dealt with this in 2016 when I was, I was getting my feet wet during the DNC, where people found out I was there, and then everybody wanted to come up to me and try to utilize my connections. And, let's say I do an interview or I take a picture because I'm affiliated with them. They would say, "Oh, can we use your photo for the store?" And it's like, nah, you can't use this. This is for somebody else. My work and my stuff is for another outlet. It's for another group that is paying me to perform and do the work I do. You can't just see me now and say, "Oh, buddy, you in that room, you got that interview, you was up front." You can't use my stuff. And that's what is so great about being an independent journalist, that I work with media companies, but I don't work for them. I work for Ernest Media Empire LLC. That's my company. And I get contracts with various media companies that I choose to give my craft and my work to. That might sound very different for you all because you all used to, y'all, some of y'all journalists y'all like, they working with one company and doing everything through them. Oh, no, no, baby. This is all me. So it was very important that coming into this, I had a clear concept and mindset about where these contracts was going, what my work was going to be for, and who made it possible for me to be in those rooms. Because a lot of people who will love when you get in there, they'll do the whole, hey, pal, long time no see. I'm not on your clock. Oh, I'm not doing that for you. I'm contract. Let me call my lawyer. I don't play those games in my labor. So it was very important for me to wait. Because when I got in there were certain media outlets and folks that I've worked with and did things with. Look, I live in Philly. I'm going to always get the inside scoop. I'm going to always know what's going on and know the faces and know the players. They had different people come. They had these national reporters. And I'm going to throw a little shade because I'm going to talk a little shade. But the thing about these national reporters, when you come into a city like Philadelphia, it's about who you know. You got to know comms directors. You got to know the people where they at. You got to know who knows who in the room. You know, you can't come here and try to pick people's brain. And so when I come to Philly, you know, when these national reporters come to Philly, they oftentimes want to pick my brain because they see me on Twitter, they see me on Instagram, they know who I know. They'll say, hey, I'm in town. You know, do you know where the president's going to be tonight? No. I do know where the president was tonight. She was at Cherry Pier, that's out there. You know where that's over there on Delaware Avenue. There was a watch party over there. Secret Service was there early in the morning. Certain elected officials like Kendra Brooks and I heard Helen Ginn was down there. Jamie Gatte, a couple of different folks was out there. A lot of Democrats, a lot of elected officials. They were there because Kamala made an appearance and gave a little rally speech into her thing right after the debate. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in this episode. But I knew that already. I didn't want to go down there. First of all, I felt there was value in the rooms I was in related to this debate. I didn't go down there and chase Kamala. She's going to be in Philadelphia multiple times. I know her team. I saw people. She's going to be around multiple times. So I didn't feel the need to run over there and to get caught up in all of that because I knew what was important about what rooms I was in, what connections I need to make to be able to get the access that I needed. And I made some really great connections tonight. And it was a really good vibe. So I was very happy about, you know, how I showed up in the work that I did. But, you know, that was a decision I made up top. But I had a plan, I had a strategy. Shout out to the people, the outlets nationally and locally, the ones that they know who they are because it wasn't everybody. Let me be very clear, that made sure that yours truly was there because you all show mad love on social. When I shared it, when it was out and everybody knew I was there, the way that you all embraced and show love, it was great. Because I have to remind myself, not myself, but to people, I love creating journalism and media for the public. Listeners like you, thank you. I like to do it for community and people. There's a lot of people in this industry, and I'm not going to name any names on this podcast tonight, but there's a lot of people in this industry that I feel like get caught up in accolades and approval from their peers only. Now, granted, I've won tons of awards, got all those great things, got all of that. But I don't do this at this point in the game, the way I'm at in my career. I recognize that people get jealous. People feel some type of way. People act funny. It becomes, when people see you as quote unquote competition, even though I don't see anybody as competition, I'm my own competition. But when other people see you as competition, when they see you in spaces that they feel like, you know, why are you here? Or, you know, whatever, that's when people get a little distant or they'll say a hi and they act dry and funny. But when you young and you aspire, right? When you have aspirations to be in certain spaces, oh, they'll be the nicest to you because you're not where, quote unquote, they think where they're at. But when they start seeing you in those same spaces and those same press situations, oh, people get real funny. Not surprised. I've seen it throughout my career. You know, next month I'll be 33. I done seen people when I was 23 years old, 24 years old, people that used to be all nice and all that. But here I am 10 years later, still doing what I'm doing, I done met them to that finish line. I done met them to that point. And now, it's real funny. And I've never been like that. I don't, to each their own. Everybody can win. I believe that everybody can win if everybody stays in their lane and do what they do best. Everybody can bring their own original flavor to what they do. But it's very funny. So over the years, national reporters, some that look like me, some of my kinfolk, because they do it too, will come to this city and they will always ask me for tips, ask me for stuff. And I've always been a resource. I don't necessarily tell people no. I want to help people, if I can. I'm like that a little bit. Sometimes I can be a little bit too giving, but I would do that. But this time around, I was like, no, I'm not going to aid other people in doing something I know I can do. Why can't I be in that room? I start asking certain questions. If you're going to keep calling me, and I'm not going to name names, but certain outlets, if you're going to keep calling me and asking me for stuff, what's the credentials? Because I actually could be there. And then some people were like, oh yeah, good point. And then that's how I got my ass in. Because I'm not going to do the sidebar, you're going to be, no, why am I not there? Why is this person in there and they don't know what the hell they're doing, but I'm here on the ground and I can work. So send your troop on the ground to do it. And that's what some people did. So I showed up for various national outlets, various different groups. I represented, I came in there, I did my thing. But that's where I'm at now. I'm putting my foot down. I'm standing on business about certain things and opportunities. Because in the past, I would just kind of be like, oh, well, I don't know. I start asking questions. I start seeing some things. And when I went in there, to be real, it's super white. Like I go in that space, I can see why political coverage is the way it is. It's so white. It's so white. And not just like on some white male thing. It's a lot of white men, but it's a bunch of white women. It's white, just white. Like I could count on my fingers how many Latinos were there. I can count on my hands, like a hand and a half of how many black reporters were there. Like the lack of diversity in political news and journalism is trash. Like even in Philly, I am one of the few consistent black political reporters in Philadelphia. I would say the most prominent black political reporter in the city. I'll say that. Some people gonna get their feelings hurt, but I can name the stats. I can name the work. I can name the moments. Some people want to debate, but I would say pound for pound, vast exposure of published. Some people do the broadcast thing. I'm doing broadcast. I'm doing print. We doing magazines. I've done it all over here. I'm gonna talk big tonight. I'm gonna talk a little big tonight because I'm at a point where I'm demanding my respect. I'm not begging for it, and I'm at a point where I'm not playing second fiddle, and I'm not playing any supporting characters. This is leading actor season. This is leading actor era for me. I'm playing the lead role on everything I do. I'm not backing up. I'm not giving grace. I done made space. It's time to own my place. So I'm at a space now where I'm demanding the things. I'm asking up front about things. I'm not just taking what's given to me. I'm not begging for anything. I'm saying what it is. If it isn't what it is, I'm not doing it. I've made it clear across the board with a lot of things. Like a lot of times, like even with these campaigns, I talk about this a while back, like the Harris campaign, or when it was the Biden campaign. The Harris campaign, I haven't done too much talking to, same staff, but a lot of times they'll say, oh, come to this event. I'm like, is the president going to be there? Is the presidential candidate going to be there? Oh, they are, but you're going to have them in the photo booth in the area talking to other elected officials, but she not talking to press, or she's only going to talk to the TV people. Oh, she can't talk to a print journalist. She can't talk to, an independent like myself. Okay, no, I'm good. I don't need to go to that. You all be like, why you wasn't at the rally? Why was you at this? Because if I'm not going to be there to do my job, if I'm going to be just a spectator taking the same pictures, doing the same thing everybody else is doing, I don't need to be there. You all going to see the same thing. If I'm not in a position to really be able to work the room, get exclusive access, work the room, get what I need to get, it's not worth it for me. It's not worth it for my followers. It's not worth it for the public. It's not worth my time. And that's something that is very big. So when I show up, when I pop out and show out at these types of events, it's because I'm going to get the range to do this the way I want to do it. And unfortunately, we're in a very racist industry where a lot of black people, especially young black men like myself, who covers politics, do not get this kind of access on a regular basis. And it's not because we can't, because we're not good enough. We can't do it. It's because there's gatekeepers. It's because of racism. It's because of ageism and paternalism. It's all of those things that shape these opportunities. So when an opportunity comes, you best believe I'm going to take it and make it big and do the best I can, because they come a dime a dozen for people like myself, even at this point in the game. So yeah, I wasn't playing any games. I wasn't giving away my shot, as a certain song had said. So I came, and it was so where I was at, I was not in the room, in the physical room for the debate, because no one could come inside of that debate room except for the moderators. That was a rule that everyone had. But there was a particular space that was given with press credentials, and it was called the spin room. There was a spin room and a media room, but most people was in the spin room. If you was a journalist that had access, you wanted to be in the spin room. And that was literally the VIP of this entire experience, because in the spin room, everybody who was everybody in politics was literally there. And the spin room is exactly what you want to call the spin, because they're giving their spin on the debate. So before the debate, there was a flock of big politicians. I mean, everybody you can imagine. Oh my goodness, who was there? Vice President JD Vance came in after the debate. The VP candidate, JD Vance, not VP candidate, JD Vance. He came. Tom Cotton, Senator Tom Cotton came. Congressman Byron Daniels came. Scammucci was there. Governor Tom Cotton. Governor Josh Shapiro, of course, was there. Laura Trump, who's the big RNC person now, she was there. Oh my goodness, Yusuf, who is now a member of New York City Council. He was there. He's the exonerated 5. Yusuf Salim, he was there. Goodness, it was so many big names was in that room. And of course you had the national journalists. So you had Caitlin Collins from CNN. She had a section. You had Yamiche Alcindor, who was there. You had April Ryan, legendary April Ryan, who was so sweet. I've known her for years. LZ Granderson, who's the black gay columnist for the Los Angeles Times and been an iconic journalist for over the years. He was there. I got to see him. Brian Seltzer, who's now back at CNN, he was there. So many people, so many major national journalists, politicos, and folks was there. It was there. Yamiche Ramaswamy was there. Goodness, his ass was there. Marco Rubio was there, child. Everybody was there. And so there was a flock of different people coming. And so when I say the spin room, what was happening was in this space was that you had media desks for people to write and do their reporting on ground. You had these big ass screen TVs. You had Wi-Fi, which was a little crappy at times. And you had the media, you had the press, you had everybody come in and work in the room trying to get their exclusives. What was crazy about it was that there was a massive gaggle of people. So every time somebody would walk in the room, people would be running. They was running like it was like it was some celebrity. Like I remember it reminded me of the Grammys, where, you know, I was at Clive Davis's party, and there was a red carpet. And that's one of my favorite, like, FYI, if you don't know this already, the Clive Davis Grammy party before the Grammys, the night before the Grammys. That Clive Davis party is one of my favorite, like, media things ever. Because we're literally at the party, but there's a red carpet, and literally everybody got to go through that red carpet. Like, I don't know how many people they snuck in, but I remember just running up and getting my picture. This time around at the Grammys, I saw Mariah Carey. I saw Dua Lipa. I saw one of the members of Earth, Wind and Fire, Cher. I mean, everybody. Paris Hilton 2 years in a row. Like, I always see Paris Hilton there every year. But like, that party is just crazy. And I just remember how all the paparazzi run. This was probably the first times I saw that level of intensity not for a celebrity, but for elected officials. Like every time somebody walked in, everybody was rolling up. International media, national media, local, everybody was rolling up on these people. It was chaos. And I just want to say that I was so happy that I got my COVID-19 booster because I don't play with COVID, and neither should you. Get your booster. Because people was out there, and listen, hand sanitizer was on me. I kept my face covered. I wasn't playing any games with that because it was too many people. And so I was backing up a little bit. There was times where people were getting a little too aggressive. I was like, back the fuck up. Like, I really want to say back the fuck up. I didn't say back the fuck up. I was just like, watch out. Okay? And because I was a black man, they were like, ooh, let me not mess with him. Because they were getting a little too pushy. The camera people, they're aggressive. Like, everybody want to get their shot. Everybody up on people. It was chaotic. I'm so happy I took my supplements. I made sure I ate well. I made sure, I was all up in with my, because the immunity, I want to keep my immunity up because it was too much. It was a little too much. But shout out to boosters and get a flu shot. It's flu season. Get your flu shot too. And for those who need it, get your pneumonia, vaccinations too. Like, don't play out here. It's too many people out here. Too many people coming into Philadelphia and beyond. So just be safe. But no, it was a lot of people, and they would run up on folk every time. Tim Scott ass was there. Oh yeah, Tim Scott was there. For those who want to see some of my video footage that I had on the ground and all the chaos, I have created a Facebook memory, not Facebook memory, an Instagram memory where you can see the stories that you scroll through my Instagram. I saved the story so you can forever see those clips and see the content and things because tonight was a memory that I'm going to still be processing for quite some time because it was wild. You can hear the adrenaline rush in me right now, the excitement in me. You're like, ooh, he up today. He giving us full volume and full energy. He not dozing off into something. Oh, I'm fully focused. I'm up and I'm stuck. I'm fired up. Okay, my students are gonna get everything out of me this week. I'm just really high on the excitement. I say, let me record this podcast while I'm in the moment so I can just everything I remember, every detail, everything. But we were all in there. We was all in the convention center, which was not too far, of course, from the Pennsylvania Constitution Center, which is where the debate was. But no one was in there but ABC. And even ABC was separated from it. They really kept people, it was really no one was in there really. I had to give me a sip. I'm having me a nice little Surfside raspberry lemonade vodka. Yes, I need it. I need to have a little bit more, a little bit more upbeat because it was a night. The food was okay because I know that's me just being random. The food was okay. There was concessions and things, some stuff overpriced. They were selling cheesesteaks in there. Y'all, them people that are not from Philly was eating them cheesesteaks. I was like, ew. And it was funny because they had a wit out. So they had cheesesteak with fried onions and then without onions. And people were like, oh, they got Philly cheesesteaks. I was like, that's not a Philly cheesesteak. Random. I got a cute little Caesar salad wrap, some sun chips, a fruit salad. I kept it real cute and healthy, y'all. I wasn't playing with all that food in there. I don't know what it's giving, but I was like, let me keep this real cute and real simple because it was too much going on. But yes, the gaggle was crazy. It was a lot going on. I want to talk about the debate now because it was 90 minutes of a lot going on. I mean, the things I was surprised about during the debate were the things that was not like policy driven, for example. When Vice President Harris was like, oh, me and Tim Walz both are gun owners. I was like, you own a Glock? Hold on, sis. Not you carrying that thing. That was one of my biggest surprise moments of the night. I did not know she was a gun holder. I shouldn't be shocked because, she was a prosecutor. She was in law enforcement. But I was like, hold up. You and Tim Walz own guns? What? But she just really wanted to check Trump on that nonsense. And she said, just to be clear, I'm not trying to take people's guns because I got a gun. I said, well, damn, she carried that heat. So that was probably, listen, that was the biggest shocker for me tonight. I didn't know she had a whip. I didn't know she keep one on her, but she do. She carried that thing. And I was like, oh, whoa. And we already knew that vice presidential candidate Tim Walz was a gun holder owner. So we wasn't too surprised about that. But I was shocked. I said, oh, she got one. Okay. Um, so what do I have to say about this debate? Um, what is there to say about the debate, to be honest? I mean, she won. Let's start there. She won. Okay. Let's get it out the way. Who you think won? She won. Easy, easy. She won. She did what she was supposed to do. She did everything that she was supposed to do. Okay? The goal was show people how much of a moron he is. And I'm going to say this too. Trump was way better in the debate against Biden than he was against Harris. The level of madness and derangement, this man topples himself. And there was parts where I was just like, whoa, what the fuck are you saying? Like, okay, like we always say Trump is off his rocker, but like when he was going against Biden, this summer, Trump was on the message, right? He says the same things. He's going to say the same xenophobic, racist rhetoric. He's going to do the whole, immigrants are still in our shit, illegal this, illegal that. He always do that, right? So there was no real stumper. The black jobs comment, I feel like that was overkill. I wasn't really crazy about the black jobs comment. Everybody kept making a thing of that. I was like, whatever, right? Whatever. But when he debated Biden, I felt like he was more contained. He was more contained. He was more, just seemed to be just more like, Biden was just so bad in his delivery, his performance, that became the distraction, right? But in this situation, Harris was so constrained. Like she was very, very focused and zeroed in. And that just, he wasn't prepared. She just did not let him take her off her swivel. He couldn't knock her off her swivel. She just stayed really on that ass and really just stayed focused on the topics. She really did not let him sidetrack her. She didn't get emotionally invested in the way. Now, people were saying there were parts where they felt like in certain pauses, she wanted to be like, this motherfucker, this, like there were moments where you could tell that she was, but she really just, overall, just really let this man make a fool of himself. And there were times where it was exhausting for her. Like I felt exhausted for her. Like I'm like, why is this educated, competent woman having to do a 90-minute debate with a complete moron? Like I just was like, this is such a waste of fucking time. Like there were parts of me where I was like, why? Why does this even need to happen? I get why it needs to happen, but I was just sitting there looking like, this is just stupid. What are we doing here? Like why? Like night and motherfucking day. Like what are we talking about here? What is the conflict here, people? Right? And so it was always going to be what it was going to be. She was always going to whoop his ass in this debate, and she did. And the crazy part is that how bad Trump just let it happen. Like you took the bait, dude. Like every time she was bringing up, like she teased him. I knew when she brought up that crowd thing. She had her moment with that crowd size and said, people leave his stuff. I said, you're going to focus. She's talking about how you're a threat to democracy. She's talking about the numerous crimes you've committed. And you are focusing on these very small, minute issues, and you're fixing on these stupid-ass details. You're not even addressing these big issues. You won't even commit to vetoing an abortion ban. You won't say yes or no to it. Okay? You over here talking about Obamacare and everything. You don't have a plan yet, but you have a concept of one. What? But you spend all this time talking about how she doesn't have any policies and she don't have a plan. And when asked about your plan, you say you have a concept of one. Dude, okay. Prior to 2025, she made sure she brought that up early. And he gonna sit up and say, well, he doesn't read it, he ain't read it. But some of the ideas good, some not. Which one is it? Either you know about prior to 2025 or you don't. Clearly he do. His advisors and people he's worked closely with his campaign were the archetypes of it. Like, dude, shut up. Like, you know about it. And like stop playing. Okay? All this crap, that Vision 20, whatever, 47, whatever the hell you want to call it. This stuff is a joke. This man is a liar. He's a pathological liar. It is what it is. So, there was those moments. The thing for me, the whole Springfield conversation about undocumented immigrants from Haiti eating people's pets, unsubstantiated, not true, a damn lie, but really went on TV talking about people eating cats and dogs. I said, Trump, like JD Vance pushed it out there. You still pushing this rhetoric on national TV. I was like, oh, this is just like, I mean, there were many times when the vice president just sat there and just was like, in many ways, wanted to say, in many ways, the jokes write themselves. And she just was smirking, just like, what we doing here? Like, what the hell we doing here? But I need to shout out Lindsay Davis and also David Muir. Both of them were the ABC moderators of this debate. Just a shout out to them for fact checking this man in real time. Just simply calling a thing. When he started talking about abortions to 9 months and all this abortion, this and that and third, Lindsay Davis shut that down, said it was not true, and just said that's the fact, and just left and just said it like it was, and fact checked him on the spot. David Muir did it a couple times as well. Like, they just was like, we're not going to do this. Nope, that's just not true. There's no substantiated truth. They checked him on the pet eating shit he was saying. He, on real time, fact checked that shit. It was like, no. Like, we're just not going to let you just be out here saying a bunch of blatant lies, right? So just shout to them for doing that, because CNN act like they couldn't do it. And I told people this, that broadcast news outlets, right? Like an ABC, an NBC, that's not cable news channels, like a CNN, an MSNBC, a Fox News. There is a difference in the way that the reporting, the journalism, the way in which they conduct themselves. This was a debate that I felt like was very done well. Like, it was well. They didn't let it go off the hinges. There were many times where Trump did talk over and did interrupt, and it got a little moment, a little shaky at times. But this was a very done debate. Like, they did not let this man slide. There was some fact checking in real time. I feel like both of the candidates got to get their points across. The timing was maintained for the most part. I just felt like it went really smooth and people didn't go off the rails. I really appreciated the way this was done. It was a very well done job. So shout out to ABC News, one, for approving my credential, let me come. Shout out to that. But two, for just really having this be a very organized, well done debate situation. Because this really could have got off the rails. This really could have been a mess. And the reality was, I felt like we got to really get a chance to hear the candidates avoid answering these goddamn questions. See, here's what I want to be clear about. Some of my line brothers, my frat brothers, who, my brothers, my alpha brothers, my LBs, my line brothers, we was having a group chat. We have a group chat. We chat with each other on WhatsApp, and they were rooting me on and cheering me on, which was awesome. Love being alpha man. We was having a group chat about this while I was there, and, there was questions being said about, like, what's the point? Like, why are they not grilling these candidates? Why are they not whatever? And I think what is important for people to understand is that this debate, y'all, like, presidential debates are not journalistic interrogations, right? You can only urge a candidate to answer the question as much as they can. At the end of the day, you can try to fixate them on trying to answer a question. They're going to keep bullshitting. If they don't have the answer, they have to answer. It's not up to the moderator of the debate to force a response out of these candidates. I mean, they can try a little bit to nudge and say, well, can you specifically answer this question? But once these people keep pivoting, at some point, you just got to move on. And you, the voters, right, the public, right, you decide. You didn't answer that question. I don't know what the hell you're thinking. Well, that's your problem. But it's really not their job to get them to answer these questions in a debate format, right? Now, in an interview format, right, you could interrogate a little harder, because the goal here at that point is to get an interview. That was not an interview. That was a moderated form where a question's asked and they got to answer to the American people, not the moderator. The moderator is not the interviewer in that moment. The questions are asked and the responses is given to the voters and to the public. You decide. That's why, if you notice, they was looking at the TV screen a lot of the time, because they're looking at you. Their job is not to really talk back and forth with the moderator. We're not watching a live interview. We're watching a debate in a forum where they're talking to us, the American people, in our homes that can vote on November 5th. So I just want to make sure that was clear to people. But then people say, well, what's the point of these debates? Honestly, I feel like the debates is meant to rally up the troops for various reasons. It's also an opportunity to fundraise, right? So because, Kamala Harris did a stellar job, we can expect that people are about to donate hella money to keep her going strong. Trump did not do that well. which will be an opportunity for them to scare some of their donors and say, listen, we ain't looking too good. We need as much money as we can get for November 5th. So they needed to use that fundraiser opportunity to raise more money to save the campaign because he lost. And any media outlet, anybody who say that that race was a tie or that Kamala lost, they're just lying. Listen, everybody got to be real. Like, everybody got to keep it 100 about what we saw tonight. We got to keep 100 what we saw Tuesday night. Like, he lost. I'll be honest that in the June debate, Trump was way much stronger because he was more composed. And also, to be real about it, Biden was just so weak, in his debate performance that seeing Kamala speak up about abortion rights and really giving a passionate moment, like one of the most passionate moments tonight was when she talked specifically about how deeply fucked up these abortion bans are and how it's really impacting reproductive rights for women and for families. And I thought that was, only a woman, I believe, could talk so passionately about that issue in a way, because Biden was just so weak when he discussed it. It was not as coherent. The way that she spoke about it tonight, there's no denial where she stands and the difference between both her and Trump on this issue. Period. Other things I want to say before I get into some of the aftermath that took place tonight. I will also add that the topic about race came up, and Trump tried to pivot to this. She could be whoever she want to be. He was really trying to listen to Nikki Haley, because Nikki Haley been out here on the media circuit really saying, like, she been saying it. She was saying Kamala Harris was going to be the presidential candidate for a minute. I don't know. She got that third eye, but she's been very, clear about the destiny. And I feel like when Trump loses on November 5th, she's going to use that opportunity to tell the party, listen, I told y'all what was going to happen with Trump. I told y'all how this is going to play out. She's going to have her I told y'all so moment. And to be honest, she might be the person that might run again in 2028. Don't sleep on her. She will try in 2028. Because if we get a woman president, which we will get in Kamala Harris, because I do believe she's going to win. When we get her in 2020, they might try to say we need to get another woman. Because now the country is open to women, they can't run another rusty, tired, racist, bigoted man. They're going to have to get somebody to meet that moment. And I believe Nikki Haley, as a woman of color, even if maybe she don't identify, whatever, she, with some Indian descent, Kamala with South Asian Indian descent, they might try to make that be the face-off in 4 years. They might try it. Nikki is gearing up for that. You can tell by the way she's talking, the way she's going in. She's positioning herself for 2028. Stay woke. Stay woke. I see it. I see it. She's young enough. She's sharp enough. I can see where that's going. She's been calling this. But when this came to this conversation around race, Trump tried to really, move himself from it. What I appreciated about Vice President Harris tonight is that she wasn't going to get into that. I'm not going to sit up here and defend my racial identity. I'm not about to play into this. I'm not doing all that. But what she did do was she made it very clear, just in case we need to run up the track record on this man. Let me tell you all the racist things he's done. Let me tell you all the racist things he has said. Let me remind you of this man's history that's been decades long. And she did. From the early days of his civil rights lawsuit around housing discrimination with his father, Fred, to his comments around former President Barack Obama and the birtherism lies, from the Central Park Five. This man has had a historic history of racism. And she just kind of laid it out there and she kept it moving. And I think a lot of people want her to do this. I appreciate how she's not falling for that, because to do that is to act as though she's got something she's got to prove. The vice president has nothing to prove. She has nothing to prove. She don't. About her racial identity, she don't. And I like that she is not feeding into it and giving this man bait and distracting the campaign on that. A lot of people have different thoughts about it, but no, she's doing it right, in my opinion. It sucks to see And I too would be I'd be exhausted having to mince my words on racism with a white man like that on national TV. But look, she had to do what she had to do. So I thought the way that she tackled that was pretty strong. Overall, I felt like Trump really just took a lot of bait. He got distracted. His ego was bruised. She just really came strong. She knew how to get him. She mastered it. She learned from Hillary's mistakes debating Trump. And I also want to add to, I don't know if people saw the very beginning of the debate, everybody kept speculating where they're going to shake hands. She made a point to go up and shake his hand. I saw it. I noticed that there was a likelihood that there wasn't going to be a handshake, but she made a point to go up and really get that handshake. And we saw it. Because I think a lot of people just didn't think it was going to happen. Because at a certain point, Hillary was over Donald Trump, and she had every reason to. Y'all got to remember that in one of them debates, Trump brought out all the women who accused former president, her husband, Bill Clinton, of sexual misconduct and all the other allegations. Trump brought all them women out to a press conference before the debate. Oh, he was playing ugly back then. They was in the crowd, in the room. Like, he did all kind of stunts. This time around, no audience, no stunts, no chants, no cheers, no jeers. Everything was just kept real respectful and chill. I would like there to be another debate. There's speculation that there's not going to be. I mean, I would love a VP debate between JD Vance and Tim Walz. That's probably not happening. I mean, we're like 55 days away from the election as of the recording of this podcast. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Trump might want to do it, but I don't know. But we got one. It took forever to get to this point, but we got one. So that was great. So now, post-debate things, and everything. I want to keep this brief, and I know you all got these going on, but I want to talk about this major breaking news. While we were there, at the end of the debate, Taylor Swift had a public world announcement that went viral and broke the internet. And we're going to talk about that because, So, Taylor Swift, global pop star, massive influencer of the culture. She wanted people to know that she made a major announcement. She came out and she endorsed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz for president and vice president of the United States. And a lot of people were surprised. I was surprised. But then I have a theory on why I wasn't surprised. Because I just felt like there was some other things that shaped the way that she operated. And I think there was a lot of things that created that. So I want to take a little bit of time to explain what was going on in so many different ways with that endorsement, because everyone's talking about it. So one of the things that really stood out to me was that there's been a lot of controversy with her, right? And I talked about it on my last podcast episode, but there were some major developments. And so, Patrick Mahomes is a player for the Chiefs, and his girlfriend, or his wife, who's a white woman. Mahomes is Black. His wife is white. She's a Trump supporter. And there was a lot of press about her Trump support and everything like that. The NFL is back on. Everybody's starting to play again. And there was a lot of talk about the games. And so normally Taylor Swift and the wife, Mahomes' wife, is always together in pictures and buddy and all that. Well, initial reports showed that they were in two different boxes during the game. And they weren't around each other. And then another picture leaked that showed her and Mahomes' wife hugged up, chilling and being cool. The Swifties were over it. Everybody was over it. They was like, fuck this. Like, how dare you, right? Like, you're over here cuddling up with a Trump supporter. You ain't taking no political positions on this election. A lot of people had thoughts. I mean, I didn't think she was because all of the excuses, but it was getting tired. It was getting annoying. And I just felt like when she did that, I was like, you're the biggest pop star on the planet right now. For you to be, your image, you ain't looking good. Because there was already an AI image, there was a AI image of her that was falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run, and he posted on his own site. And so there was a narrative suggesting that Taylor Swift was aligned with Trump. And there's been several speculations about her politics. Now, I always told you all that following Taylor Swift's career, that she's a Democrat, that she has previously supported Democrats and things of that nature. However, she always tried to stay out of politics for various reasons. But after 2016, ever Miss Americana, there was a sense that she was going to be more vocal, and she had shown vocalness in politics, and there was a sense that she was retreating from that to try to be Miss Popularity. Well, tonight, okay, right after the debate, she made it very clear where she stood. And I'm going to read what she said. I mean, listen. It's a picture of her with a cat, which we'll get to where that's at. She said, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for this country. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me, quote unquote, falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the danger of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion that I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for this election as a voter. The simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. And I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ plus rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. I've done my research and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, and the choice is yours to make. I also want to say, especially to first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you have to be registered. I also find it's much easier to vote early. I'll link where to register and find early voting dates and info in my story. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, Childless Cat Lady. She did it. Over 4 million people, as of the time of which I'm recording this podcast, has liked it. Taylor Swift has used her platform to be on the right side of history and endorse the right presidential and vice presidential candidate. That's it. The white girls, the Swifties, she might help Kamala get them white women votes and hopefully those white men. The young girls, you heard it best. You like her, you stand for her. Swifties, take your ass to the polls like you got them tickets for that goddamn concert and show up for them polls on November 5th, 2024 and make sure that this black woman wins the presidency because you all's fave and mother of that pop world has said what she done said. Now you go out there and you show up and you support. Now see, black folks like myself, we already know where, our queen, Beyonce stands on these issues because she let the vice presidential candidate use her music and send a cease and desist threat into Trump to not use it. So we already know where Beyonce stands. So don't do the whole, where is Beyonce at? Freedom, my kid. You already know where she stood on it, okay? She been on the plane. But black women always got to lead the way. So we happy to see both of these pop icons, these pop stars, staying together once again and be on the right side of history. So, Oprah, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, check, check, check. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I was a little annoyed a little bit with Taylor Swift earlier with all the passiveness, but I'm happy that she's on the right side. She done shut these rumors down. Everybody that was trying to say all these things about her, they didn't came, she done got ahead of it. This is a big deal. She had to pivot because I feel like the PR pressure, to be honest, was getting really hard. Swifties was really like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? It was getting really weird. She showed up, though, in the best way she could. So, the internet's exploding on various fronts. Everybody's talking about the debate, but then everybody's talking about Taylor Swift. We don't know what's going to be the front cover. I mean, clearly, the internet is exploding on both ways. And she done majorly pivoted. The momentum is for Harris. So, she about to get these people registered to vote. She about to use her influence. This might be the most important political endorsement, celebrity endorsement we have seen in a long ass time. We're going to see. We're going to see now. Because now all these white girls going to go to their daddy and say, I'm supporting it. Look, I'm sorry, Dad, but you do what you want to do. But the households are going to be divided. You can't convince people to cancel Taylor Swift now. Y'all done propped this woman up. Now y'all can't say she, but she let it be known where she stood, and she did the right moment in time. She saved it for the right moment because early voting is in process, and she want people to do early voting. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So it was a lot tonight. It was a big night. It was a big night. I'm super excited about everything that happened, but I've saved the best part for last. So at the very end of the night, there was another media gaggle, and I mean it was a circus. Byron Donalds came out, JD Vance came out. It was a little crazy, but something in me said before it got really late, let me stay out one little time by this gate because they started to spread it out. And I was like, why are they spreading it out? Let me stay my ass. See, I have a certain type of fan code eyes. I was like, I need to just stand at the edge of this railing. Because I didn't go to Cherry Peak. I wasn't chasing Kamala. I said, let me stay here real quick. Because I saw some things. Child, I was at the front of the gaggle when Donald J. Trump came. I was feet away from former President Donald Trump. And I had my phone out, and he was looking for questions, and I got the yellow question out along with another reporter, and the question was, Taylor Swift endorsed, VP, endorsed terrorists. How you feel? He said, I don't know. He was like, I don't know. I don't know. He just, I don't know, and moved on. He was like, what? He didn't even know. I think that was the first time he probably found out that Taylor Swift endorsed Harris and Walz. I think he did not know, but to have his first time reaction, I recorded it on my phone, put it on the IG and everything like that. But I was there. I got to be in the moment to see Trump's first appearance following the debate. He actually came out to the gaggle, y'all. He came to the spin room. He came out because all his Republicans, listen, all them GOP Trumpers, they came out in droves to try to spin the narrative. They was trying to get in there and say, oh, Kamala this, Kamala that. Baby, they was out there spinning and spinning and spinning, child, but nobody was really here for it, to be honest. But, he was there. The spin was wild. But he did some interviews and stuff, but I got my moment. I got my footage. I was up front, and then I took my ass home. And that landed me here. But a little side tea. I forgot one little story. So when I was leaving, I ran into Governor Josh Shapiro before he exited too. We left around the same time. And we saw each other. We haven't seen each other in months. And I said hi. I said, hey, Governor. He said, how's it been? I said, it's been good. And I told him something. I can't say it on the show. And he shook my hand. I shook his hand. And his team recognized me. They knew I was. And, we chatted, shook his hand and said, hey, how's it been? How's it been? He kept moving. I kept moving. Kept it respectful, kept it cool, no drama. It's been, you all know, it's been I don't think I'm on his favorites list, but y'all know I'm not in the business of being on anybody's favorite list. But it was interesting. But we kept it, cool. So yeah, it's a night that I'm going to be processing for a very long time. Definitely a game changer. Just really grateful. Got a lot of gratitude. I got to write some stories. I got to do some stuff. But I just want to say to my longtime followers of this podcast and of my work, thank you. Truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because it's I'm in a phase of my career, and I guess you all are seeing it. Things are really coming fast and moving up, and I was so great about doing this work and doing it the way I've done it is that I've been very fortunate to be able to really be in the moment and savor the moment. Like I know a lot of people in the business, they get real, everything goes so fast, they can't savor anything. I'm just so grateful that I have the space and the ability to process these moments and take them in and be present for them and also be able to reflect on them because I'm able to like measure my growth in my journey. A lot of you all know how this journey has been for me through my political coverage stuff. I mean, it was just interesting to see certain people in those rooms because my first, televised debate experience many years ago, as you all know in the last podcast episode, was very different. And to still be here and to walk in those rooms and to be like, yes, in spite of, this is here. That just takes it for me. To be able to just keep going and to keep being reminded of what I'm bringing to the table. And to see what I mean to a lot of people. The love, the amount of love, the enthusiasm that you all had about tonight's debate because you saw that I was there. All your messages, all of your hearts, all your messages. Thank you. Thank you so much for the encouragement, for the love, for all of that, because this is what I do it for. I do it for the public, to inform the public. I don't care about all these industry folks and all these, whatever, because those people come and go. I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. And I love that I'm able to have the support and encouragement because it's you all, it's your listens, it's your views, it's your shares, it's your recommendations, it's your motivation, it's your consistent saying, where is Ernest at? He needs to be here. It's the demands, it's all of those things that keeps this going and the impact that it does, the influence that it has, the inspiration it has, because there's somebody that is 10 years younger than me, maybe a couple years younger than me, that is watching me do this and saying to themselves that they can do that. And there's a bigger picture. I was so enthusiastic about my brother who, my younger brother who's at Temple, and just how much he gets hype about me and brags about me and tells his classmates, my brother was there, and those are the things, right? Because those are the people who are not necessarily as excited or engaging with the elections. And so anytime people can have a reason to be excited or to care, that means something to people. And so I'm very just elated and motivated by the amount of support and enthusiasm that you all have continued to give me over these years, and especially during this time, because I have high standards and I'm not going to lower my standards. And I think that's the thing, is it's like you can accept the crumbs, but if you don't speak up for yourself and really let people know what you're about and what you're trying to do, you'll just find yourself in the back row. And I don't do anything in the back. So, but until then, I look forward to more recaps and discussions about this in the next episode. But this was a great special edition episode, and I can't wait for you all to listen and let me know what you think and all the great things. But as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.